going on, guys? Back with another one on the channel for you, and today I have my second Dynasty video. I'm just going to be running through my top 3 Dynasty sales in the entire Dynasty football landscape. This one for you. Last video was my top 3 Dynasty buys, just guys that I was looking to go out and acquire and trade for and add to my Dynasty teams by any means necessary. And today's pretty much the exact opposite. Just 3 guys that if they're on my Dynasty rosters, I'm looking to trade them, get out from underneath them, and really 3 guys that I want no part of in terms of Dynasty trade talks and acquire them. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. At number 1, I have Zay Flowers. And this one really hurts me because I love Zay Flowers, the player. I loved him as a prospect. I just think he's priced way too high right now in Dynasty. He is the current wide receiver 22 while being my wide receiver 28. And I think his price is just significantly higher than other wide receivers with very similar profiles who are in arguably better situation in terms of total target volume and passing volume in general in those offenses. For example, a guy like Jaden Reed. Zay Flowers is priced 10 spots ahead of Jaden Reed, and I don't understand that one bit. Jaden Reed was a guy who is a rookie last season, just like Zay Flowers, who came out and was Jordan Love's number 1 option as a rookie. We can expect him to be Jordan Love's number 1 option in his second year. There's more potential touchdown upside with Jaden Reed as well, so I don't understand that one bit. But let's break it down in terms of the Baltimore Ravens offense situation and why that really concerns me. So the main thing for me is the Mark Andrews splits are legitimate and they are very concerning. In games with Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers' target percentage dropped from a 28% to a 22%, and his targets per route run dropped from a 22% to an 18.6%. And while that clearly shows you his volume wasn't as significant with Mark Andrews as it was without, his efficiency also dropped as well. His yards per route run dropped from 1.74 to 1.58. And most importantly, what we're here for, to score fantasy points, to win fantasy games, to win fantasy championships, his fantasy points per game dropped from 14.7 without Mark Andrews to just a flat 8 with him. So why is that a big deal? Because we can expect Mark Andrews to be healthy to start the season, right? And as we've seen, that significantly impacts Zay Flowers' production. So what happens if Mark Andrews goes out here and logs a full season? We can't project injury, right? We can just project the situation as we know it. And as we know it right now, Mark Andrews is healthy and playing. So that's a big hit to Zay Flowers' fantasy production. And let's get back to his efficiency, actually. He was only 46th in yards per route run last season. That was behind guys, again, like Jaden Reed, T. Higgins, George Pickens, Rashee Rice. And all those guys are priced under Zay Flowers. And all those guys are in situations where they're going to have more target volume. They're going to have more overall passing volume in general. While Zay Flowers remains in a very similar situation in a run-first heavy offense that just acquired the best pure rusher of the football in the NFL in Derrick Henry. So how much volume is there really to go around here, right? As we stated, Mark Andrews is the clear-cut number 1 option. They're going to run the air out of the ball with Derrick Henry, and that doesn't even count the fact that the designed runs for Lamar Jackson, what they do with Lamar Jackson's legs, and also the potential scrambles when things break down in the pocket for Lamar. He's looking to run. He's not looking to create with his arm once things break down. So as I said, how much true volume is there? And Zay's also a guy that doesn't project out to ever be a legitimate red zone threat or a big-time touchdown scorer. So while the potential overall volume won't be there, the touchdown volume won't be there. And if we want to just take a look back at wide receiver finishes under Lamar Jackson-led offenses, the absolute best wide receiver finish in terms of fantasy points per game under a Lamar Jackson-led offense was 21st, and that was Hollywood Brown. And ironically, I think those are 2 players who profile very similarly, right? They have very similar profiles, very similar skill sets, and the absolute ceiling for Hollywood Brown in this offense was 21st overall. So what's the ceiling for Zay Flowers? Can we really expect a top 24 finish out of Zay Flowers this season and going forward in this offense? I'm a little skeptical of that. And while it's unfortunate because, like I said, I love the player, the situation just isn't going to be there for him, and he's priced way too high. If you can turn Zay Flowers into a Jaden Reed in an asset, a Rashee Rice in an asset, I know Rashee Rice is going to get suspended, but I think we've seen that Rashee Rice prove that he can be a more valuable fantasy football player than Zay Flowers. I would do that all day. Or you can just take Zay Flowers and upgrade him into a DK Metcalf, a DJ Moore. Those are guys I would be looking to acquire all day for Zay Flowers and wouldn't think twice about it. Number 2, I have Sam Laporta. I know this one's going to be controversial, and I totally understand it, but in my eyes, I personally don't think there's an easier or better sell in the entire dynasty landscape than Sam Laporta. He's simply just going far too high in startup drafts as the 26th overall pick, which also happens to be 2 to 4 rounds higher than guys like Trey McBride, Mark Andrews, Dalton Kincaid. And as I said, that's simply too high. While I know it's very hard to hear to sell the second-year tight end in Dynasty who just finished as the overall tight end 1 as a rookie, I believe that was mainly due to a massive down year at the position as a whole. If we just want to look at some quick stats for a second, George Kittle led the way with receiving yards for tight ends in 2023 with 1,025. That was the least by the leading receiving tight end by over 200 yards since 2018. Also, the second leading scorer tight end, which happened to be George Kittle, only got into the end zone 6 times. That was the least amount of touchdowns from the second highest scoring tight end in the NFL in over 25 years. So I just think we can expect a massive amount of positive regression from the tight end position in 2024. Let's look at efficiency metrics now. If we take a look at yards per route run, Sam Laporta was still great. He was still awesome, especially for a rookie. But he was 6th in the entire NFL, behind guys like George Kittle, Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, Trey McBride, and TJ Hawkinson. And the 2 guys I really want to highlight there for you is Trey McBride and Mark Andrews. Those are 2 guys who are still in their prime or have yet to hit their prime, who are healthy, but happen to be going far cheaper than Sam Laporta. So you can get those 2 guys for Sam Laporta and then get a Trey McBride in an asset, Mark Andrews in an asset, whether that is a pick or a player that's going to help you contend right now. I think that's a no-brainer. And if we just take a look at targets per route run last year, once again, Sam Laporta was very good. He was 5th in the NFL. And I get it. Like I said, that's very good. But he was also behind, once again, Trey McBride, who happened to lead the NFL in that metric in terms of target per route run. And I think that's a big deal because Trey McBride was a guy last year who was playing behind Zach Ertz with no Kyler Murray. And then as soon as Ertz goes down and Kyler comes back, he really exploded. So this metric, the fact that he leads the league in that metric while dealing with those circumstances is really impressive. And it really leads me to tell you that I don't think the gap between Sam Laporta and him is a full 2 rounds or 20 picks or something like that. Especially Mark Andrews as well. I think Mark Andrews might be the most underpriced tight end in the entire dynasty landscape, but that's for another day. Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me if we saw Sam Laporta not finish in the top 5 from tight ends in general this year, right? We just see a full season of healthy Mark Andrews. Trey McBride takes that another step forward. Travis Kelce turns back into the player he was 2 years ago with the upgraded offense, and now teams can't double him. Would it surprise you if Sam Laporta was tight end 6, 7? It wouldn't surprise me. And then if that happens, he finishes as 6 through 10. We're talking about a tight end that's going as pick 46 or later in startups as opposed to 26. So now's just the time to get out and flip him and add some elite assets for him while you can. Moving on. Number 3, I have Travis Etienne. Another very good player, but he is my current Dynasty running back 8, and he is the current ranked Dynasty running back 5. I just think he is currently priced at his ceiling, and there's no way to ever accrue the value that you will spend to acquire Travis Etienne. Let's just take a look at something. If Travis Etienne goes out there and under a crazy circumstance, a crazy year happens, and he somehow finishes as the overall RB1, is he ever priced higher than Bijan Robinson? No. Will he ever be priced higher than Breece Hall? No. Will he ever be priced higher than Jahmyr Gibbs? No. Will he ever be priced higher than Jonathan Taylor? Absolutely not. So what's the point of holding on to a player like that? I don't see a reason. We also saw a massive downtick in efficiency in all of his metrics in 2023 from 2022. In 2022, he had a 5.1 yard per carry average, and then in 2023, that dropped to a 3.8. He also went from 3rd in the NFL in rushing yards over expectation per attempt to 37th in 2023. That shows you that not only was his O-line bad and his yards per carry dropped because he was getting hit a lot earlier, he also wasn't particularly good himself in 2023. And he also wasn't creating himself either. And that worries me a lot. His explosive run rates also went down. He went from an explosive run rate that ranked 8th in the NFL in 2022 to 31st in 2023. And was that a direct result of he's declining and a lack of explosiveness? Probably not. I think it was more so the result of a very significantly higher workload, and he was getting beat up a lot more. But that's exactly why the Jaguars and Doug Peterson and that coaching staff have already come out and talked about lowering his workload. And a lowered workload for Travis Etienne would absolutely bring back his efficiency and explosiveness, but that would be a massive hit for his fantasy value. In 2022, while he was extremely efficient, he was extremely explosive, extremely an elite running back in terms of metrics. He was the running back 17 in PPR formats. So while he will be a much better NFL running back, it would be a very big detriment to our fantasy production because in 2023, his efficiency dropped. He was less explosive. However, he was the running back 3 in PPR formats, thanks to that uptick in volume. So with a downtick in volume coming this year, is there a chance he doesn't, just like Sam Laporta, he doesn't finish in the top 5? Absolutely. And then what happens if he doesn't? If he doesn't finish in the top 5, what is Travis Etienne's dynasty value next year? I don't think he's top 5 anymore. Not even close. He'll be another year older, closer to that 27, 28 age season where this hypothetical or this perceived running back cliff age drop-off happens because he'll be 26 next year. So what happens if he doesn't have this insane year? He's not running back number 5 anymore. He's closer to running back 10, 11, 12. So I would easily just be looking to take Travis Etienne and flip him for as much as I can get right now. I would love to turn Etienne into Jonathan Taylor or add Etienne and some pieces to go out and get a Breece Hall, a Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't think that's very likely, but I would be trying my butt off to do it. I would also be really looking to down tier from Etienne. If I can turn Travis Etienne into a James Cook in an asset, Jonathan Brooks in an asset, or maybe even Devon A-Chain straight up, I would be doing that. But yeah, I think there's a clear sell window here for Travis Etienne, and I think you would be wrong to not take advantage of it. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's my 3 biggest sells in the Dynasty landscape. I hope you enjoyed. If you agree, let me know in the comments below. If you disagree, let me know in the comments below. And if you like what I had to say, just please consider like, commenting, and subscribing, and I'll be back with another one. Thanks, guys.